Hello everyone and welcome to my review of the LEGO Star Wars 2022 ATTE Walker. This has 9 characters if you count the spider droid, 1082 pieces, and has a retail price of 140 US dollars or 120 Great British pounds. Now let's take a look at those minifigures. So here we have easily the best and most anticipated figure from this set, being Phase 2 Commander Cody. It's a figure that was heavily requested, and it's very nice to finally get it here. Is it perfect? No, but I still think it's awesome to finally get. Like, seeing this figure just fills me with so much joy, and I think it looks really good. Again, it's not perfect, but I think it does really look good. So you do have those orange arms, which I was concerned they might make him have white arms, which just would have been a shame. So that seems to be what they're doing with a lot of these new clones post 2020, but he does have orange arms. The most accurate would be dual molded with orange at the top and white at the bottom, which I do believe does exist. You can get them, I think, from Marge, from one of the Simpsons minifigure series. But yeah, you can see all the detail here is spot on. He's got the little rank there, the belt, as well as hip printing, which is something a lot of the clones have been lacking, which is really nice to see. He does have the jetpack at the back. Would it have been nice to have a physical build for it? Yeah, but I wasn't expecting something like that. Then up here at the top, you do have the helmet, which is a new helmet because it does have these holes in. And now I'll get into the holes more with the other figures, but I think that especially here, because it has the visor piece covering them, it looks quite good. He is using that same visor piece from 2008, and it does come in that same pack, so you do get extras of these, so you can have an accurate Phase 1 Commander Cody if you own that figure. And you can move it up. You shouldn't, but you could if you wanted to be silly like that. And it does fit quite well. Again, the proportions aren't fully accurate. It should curve down a bit more. But I think it's fine. Now, the printing up top, it's a little bit spaced out. It should be hugging the fin or the bit in the middle, and it's a little bit spaced out, but I don't think it's that big of a deal, especially when we get to other figures. And currently, every part of this figure is exclusive, even the face print underneath, which is a special, unique face print that they've made just for him. And I think it's quite cool to get something like this. It doesn't have something like Wolf where Commander Wolf's missing an eye, but it's still nice to get an exclusive face print. Believe that might be a scar there. And he does come with a small blaster, but yeah, I'm absolutely ecstatic to have this figure. Ever since I have unboxed the set, I've just been looking at this figure with so much glee. It's such a cool figure. Even if it isn't perfect, I still love it. I'm so glad it exists. I just love it so much. Easily one of my favorite figures of 2022. It's between this and the 187th Trooper. Both just, oh, they're so good. So good. I love them. Here we have what is on the box called the 212th Clone Gunner. It is just a normal Phase 2 Clone Gunner. There is nothing special about this one that makes it specifically 212th. Now, this is the second time we've gotten this figure, the first being in 2017 with the worst Republic fighter tank, in my opinion. And you can see the difference here. The old one does not have footprinting. It has the black hips, and it does have the thinner style of Phase 2 clone helmet that they introduced in 2014. And you'll also notice, if I turn it to the side, this one does not have helmet holes. And, okay, I understand. These don't look great. And especially with the rangefinder that you can see in the 501st Specialists Battle Pack, it's not ideal. However, I don't personally mind it. I agree. It objectively does look bad. But for me personally, I don't mind it. I can look past it. It's not a massive deal breaker for me. I feel like they might have used these new helmets because the old ones don't have any holes in them for if a child were to swallow and choke on it, whereas these ones do. So I feel like that might be the reason, or maybe they just want to get as much use out of their new part as possible. I really couldn't tell you, but you can see he does have the general utility belt, that's what it's called. And this one does have more straps than the original, and they're in a tan color. It does come with a short blaster, and then underneath, it's the exact same face they've been using since 2020, which is a very nice face. Then the helmet is also significantly more scuffed up than the 2017 version, which is quite neat, I suppose. And here we have the problem child. Or more specifically, 3 of them. Yeah. So, in case you've been living in Iraq or this is your first ever LEGO Star Wars review, this is really bad. This looks terrible. This is not what 212 troopers look like. They have the distinct point. Now, this would be bad enough on its own, but the thing is, they got it right on the box. Let me just show you. You see that? It has the point on the box. How do you mess that up? Someone needs to go to the guy who's in charge of renders and give them Narcon. They've clearly overdosed, because this is not an isolated incident of them messing up the box. But with that out of the way, you do have the helmet holes, which I already touched on. I don't particularly mind them, however, I agree that it is objectively bad. But even then, I think this figure is really bad, even if this was correct. I think this is a really, really bad 212 Trooper. And I don't know why. It has hip printing that's more than the 501st Trooper. It has the right amount of orange, other than on the arms. But I don't know. Like, this is the figure from when this set released 8 years ago. 2014. Look at that. Aside from lacking footprinting, this is the better figure. This figure is awesome. This comes in the Utapau Troopers Battle Pack. This figure is really good. Even if, yeah, the arms should be dual molded to be orange and white, this figure looks so much better. Even the helmet wasn't terrible. This figure is so much better. People complain about the helmet, and yes, very much so. The helmet being inaccurate to that degree and being falsely advertised on the box. It is terrible. And it even bleeds into the visor. You can see like right there, if I zoom in. Nope, that's not it. But it bleeds into the visor, so the visor has like an orange tint to it. But even if that was correct, this is a really, really poor figure. I don't like this design as a design for the 212. This is the 212. It's orange. This is my 212. This is what I think a 212 should look like. And I don't understand why. I don't understand why I feel this way, that this figure, even if this, like, we take this off. So, the side, no helmet. We ignore the helmet, we pretend the helmet's accurate, and I just tossed it to the side. This is still a pants figure. This is still really, really poor. Just from a design perspective. This really doesn't feel like a 212 Trooper. It's orange and all that, but when you have this, you've got the bigger orange on the hips. You've got more orange on the side. You've got the orange arms, of course. This feels complete. Whereas this figure feels terrible. This figure feels incomplete, even if it did have the complete print, even if that wasn't cut off. This is still a really poor and uninteresting 212 design. Even the one from 2013, which was yellow and not orange, I think looks better than this. Again, ignoring the helmet, because the helmet makes it the worst figure just by default. It's like, this is the worst clone minifigure they've ever made by default because of that helmet. Because this isn't a misprint. This is how it's meant to be. It's just falsely advertised on the box. So, I don't get it. How do you make a figure that looks this bad? How? And how do you make 3 of them as well? Imagine if we got 2 airborne troopers instead. There would have been complaints because they probably wouldn't have had physical wastegapes, but you wouldn't have messed it up. I don't think they would look that bad. You just reuse the 2020 version. I think it would look quite good. People would be like, but now you get 3 of these damn things. Yeah. Without the helmet, it's a bad figure and the worst version of the character. With the helmet, it's the worst clone minifigure they've ever made. This single-handedly brings the set down. Sorry for that rant. You do also get 3 battle droids in the set, which, very standard. It'd be nice to get at least a variation like the Commander version, or Commander droids or Super Battle droids, and I feel like there must be an issue with the Super Battle droid legs, which is what the Commander droids use, and the Magna Guards, because they have just refused to make any of those figures in nearly 10 years. Super Battle droids lasted a little longer. They got to 2015, but 2023 is 8 years. That is a lot. That's a long time without any Super Battle droids, and it's a big shame. And so you end up with a lot of battle droids, which they're fine, they're good, they work. I mean, I think I saw a custom mold that had a bent arm, which I think would be really cool to have, but if LEGO doesn't want to do that, I understand. But yeah, I don't know. I just kind of wish, I don't know, I hope they figure out. I hope Super Battle Droids can make a return. There's not really a knock against this set, it's just kind of a thing with clone sets as a whole. The final figure, and it's counted as a minifigure on brick set for whatever reason, is the Dwarf Spider Droid. And it's very well designed. It's just kind of this is an Utapau set. You can see on the box it's Utapau, which we'll show in a bit. It just kind of feels like you could have done a crab droid. Like there's no Dwarf Spider Droids on Utapau. You could have done the crab droid, but for what this is a really good Dwarf Spider Droid. It doesn't have the stud shooter. You can adjust the cannon as you like. You can adjust the eyes as well. You also have that ball piece that they use for the turrets. You have that clear center cylinder to make it look like it's levitating and also provide a bit more support. And then you have the legs. Like, it's a good design. It's just not the right scene. I think this would have worked better in the 501st Specialists pack as something for them to go against, because I'm not a huge fan of that cannon, but that is for another video, another time. This is the ATTE. So as it stands, good design, just the wrong set. But it may have sounded like I was whining, because I was, but whining mode off. Because this is an incredible build for the ATTE. The last time we got a full proper version, was 2013. 9 years ago when this came out. And I do own that 2013 version. It isn't complete, so I won't be doing a comparison. Plus, I'm quite late to that party, even if I even did that. But they are about the same size. However, this set is much better, much more accurate, and much better detailed. And they are quite similar in not just their size, but their general build as well. However, this does everything better, aside from maybe one or two small nitpicks that we'll get into. But starting up front with the cockpit, you do have the very nice dark red, and you do have these ball turrets which you can move around as you please. They're quite strong connections, so these bits aren't going to snap off during play. Then if you want to access the cockpit, you can just pull that out. It attaches via a little Technic rod, and you do have two little joysticks, so you can take your clone gunner and then sit him on down inside, put him back in, and you have him piloting the ATTE, which is very nice. Now, that's not the only little bit where you can put figures. As you can see, I've got this big cannon up top, so let's take a close look at that. So this cannon at the top can spin 360 degrees. You have a little control panel there where you can take one of your problem children and put them inside. They don't attach via any studs, they're just loose in there. And then on the side, you have the only firing capability of the set, which are these two newer style stud shooters, so you can just push that down. And they're gone, lost forever, but I'll find some new pieces to replace them. You can see on the side, they've got many stickers for throughout. You've got the Republic logo, actually accurate this time and not the Imperial one. Got some nice damage detailing throughout. You can see just, excuse me, bits of debris and damage to the ATTE. And that's basically the stickers. Now you do have this handle right here, like the 2013 version, you just pull up, and since the ATTE is top heavy, it does lean forward, but you can put it down. And this is really my only complaint of the set, is that these middle legs don't default to the central position, and I think that looks a little odd having it like this, whereas they did default to that central position on the 2013 version. It's just a small little thing. Then you do have here with the cannon, you can move it up and down as well. And I'm not the biggest fan of this because the 2008 version, the version I don't own, and I believe the biggest version in terms of footprint, the whole cannon moves up and down. And I think that looks better, almost like this, which is a hint to what's inside there. The whole cannon would move up and down like this, instead of just the barrel. And I not only feel that looks better, but I believe that's accurate to the scene. Of course, me in editing will let you all know if I'm correct or not. But a nice detail that this version has that no other version has are these gears at the bottom of the feet. And the feet are much better smoothed out than the 2013 version or any other version. And these gears really do help differentiate this set from its 2013 counterpart. You got some little lights, and the set is symmetrical, so won't show you the other side. But taking Problem Child out, you can lift up this part, and inside you do have some little bits. You do have this part with a thermal detonator, and then over here you do have this little crate which I believe has white electro binoculars inside. Let's see. Yep, white electro binoculars inside, and you can just put that back in, which I will do. Then inside you do have two seats, which just sits in there loose, so you can fit two clones in there. So currently we are at 4 clones that you can fit inside, but trust me, there's going to be much more. There's also almost the illusion of a walkway between this and the back part of the set. You can't actually do it because of the handle, but there is that nice illusion. Moving to the back, you do have
this part right here, and I really like how close together and flush all the panels come. You do have that little bit of a line, but it works very well, and it looks excellent. Now, what's interesting, this is quite different from the 2013 version, where the 2013 version you lifted up the whole thing, and this part came with it, but now you pull this down. I made some piece come loose, we'll fix that in a bit. And then you pull this up, and you have your seating inside. So you do have a little weapons rack here, and then 5 whole seats inside. That's quite cool. You do also have, over here, a little control panel for the 2 back guns.
Through the power of movie magic, we have put all of the orange clones inside of the ATT, I forgot what it was called, and then you can see the weapons back there in the rack as well. You can of course fit one more inside, which brings the total number of clones you can put in or on this set is 9, with 5 in the back, 2 in the front, 1 in the cannon, and 1 driving the thing. And that's what it looks like, all closed up. And I think that is a pretty damn good look. Not really too much else to say. Now, let's look at the box and the instructions. Do have quite a large box, as you would expect for quite a large set. Of course, let me reiterate, Problem Child interestingly does have the Clone Wars box art, even though this is from episode 3, so it would logically have the Darth Vader. But it's such a superficial detail, I don't really care. You do have Cody on the side, looking as fantastic as ever. On the back of the set, you've got all of the different functions and shots, and showing how you can fit all the clones inside. How fun. I've been fortunate enough to never have to deal with this, but my time is up. We are now officially on the Brickdog channel in the era of the shitty white render. It looks so... Why? This is good instruction. This looks good. It's just a box art. Why? Why'd you have to do this, Lego? It looks so bad. Why? And this is for everything, not just Star Wars. With the same generic white thing. Why? Why, Lego? It looks so bad. It's not even like a good render. It's bad. They still get it right, though accurate, here on Problem Child, so that's fun. You do have the paper bags thing, which they're maybe actually starting to come through on that promise. Which they made in like, what, 2020 or something? Then on the back, you have this really, really odd choice. So you can see here with the Justifier, Inquisitor Scythe, and then Obi-Wan Starfighter, they have the figures lined up at the bottom of the box, as you see. But for that one, they don't have Obi-Wan. I don't know, they've never done this before. It's really weird. But anyways, if you want my opinions on these sets, this set's great. I really want that one because I'm a fan of Fallen Order. After seeing Andor, I appreciate this set more, but I still think it's just an obese gunship, and I'm not a huge fan of it. I do like the Luthen figure, though. I might get this set if it's like half off as a joke, because I have all the ATSTs, including the like 2001 one. This set is really bad. It's got the lines between the curves, so nope. Didn't like the Obi-Wan series, so regardless of how good either of these sets would have been, I wasn't going to get them. I will say this as a set is really good. This is one of the worst LEGO Star Wars sets ever made. I don't get how anyone defends this. This is one of the most overpriced LEGO Star Wars sets of all time. Who recognizes this? This is in Bad Batch for like 40 seconds at most. Who recognizes this, and why does it have to be $170? Like whatever, 140 pounds. This is absurd. It's got like
two good figures because they still can't get Cad Bane's breathing tubes right. Who would want this at such an expensive price? I think it should exist, just not at that price. On the back, you do have showing off all of the functions. And yeah, that's it for the instructions. This video's been quite ranty, hasn't it? The instructions did come in this cardboard sleeve, which is quite nice. It's a nice way to keep them from getting bent. I appreciate this. I like this. Also, I checked, no, this is not step 25 in the build. Neither of these steps are in this build. They're just of a random build, I suppose. Now, I know this has definitely been a lot of ranting. And certainly, I still do stand by all the points I made. Because it does feel like with Clone Wars sets specifically, like Lego Star Wars is always almost perfect. There's always one or two things with clone sets that they just miss, and it is a little annoying because they can very well make almost flawless sets. Like with the original trilogy, you've got the TIE Bomber that just came out, and of course you've got things like the UCS AT-80 as one of the greatest like Star Wars sets of all time. And with clone sets, don't get me wrong, they can still make very good clone sets. I personally really like the design of the 2022 Public Fighter Tank. I know a lot of people don't, and I understand why. And then you have things like the UCS Gunship or the General Grievous' Starfighter. Good sets, but they're undermined by one or two small flaws. But still, at the end of the day, I think this set is really good. You throw these guys just to the side, you're left with an incredible, it's not perfect, but incredible Phase 2 Cody, which is a figure we've all been wanting for a long time, and it gives you the parts to have an accurate Phase 1 Cody with an orange visor. You get an absolutely incredible ATTE. There's a couple of small changes I would make, namely this middle leg right here, not always defaulting to that central position, but still, this is an absolutely incredible build. It looks beautiful on display, and I'm still extremely happy with this set. Certainly, a bunch of nitpicks that I feel just could be tightened up. Like, the 212 figures are a actual genuine big complaint. The only complaint of substance I can really toss at this set, other than maybe including the Dwarf Spider Droid, but that I don't care a lot about that. But still, like everything else, every other little nitpick or small rant I've gone on are just little things that I think could be tightened up about Lego Star Wars as a whole. 90% of this set is excellent. It's just these three figures that are genuinely terrible. I still really recommend this set. If you are a fan of the Clone Wars, if you are a fan of Episode 3, if you are a fan of Phase 2 Cody, if you are wanting an ATTE, this is excellent. You just have to deal with these three figures, which you can put inside the set and pretend like they don't exist, which is what I'm gonna do. And still, even with problem children, the troubling trio, I still would give this set a 9 out of 10. I still highly recommend this set. This set is really good. It's one of the best of 2022. I highly recommend it. Anyways, this video was a bit of a mess. See you guys later. Peace.